The global metaverse market is estimated to reach nearly $400 billion in the next 2 years. But the lack of content and real-life use cases raising questions about how much runway the digital or virtual world has for now. Even Epic Games Vice President Marc Petit said that people have kind of lost interest in the metaverse. For more on this, let's bring in Yahoo Finance's Dan Howley. And Dan, this is a conversation we have a lot. First of all, let's define the metaverse. What are we even talking about?
Good question. Nobody really knows. It's like, the metaverse is either going to be something where we're wearing headsets, VR, AR, interacting with the real world with digital overlays, or something where it's, like a windshield that has a digital overlay for when we're driving, something like that. Or it's scanning QR codes in the real world and then getting data from those. So who knows? It's really this like kind of vast, weird, amorphous definition. Man. Yes, it's just a concept, man. Yeah, so really we're still trying to figure out what this is and, what it means for consumers. And that, I think, in turn, has turned some people out, as Marc Petit had kind of said.
Now, I guess, what does this mean for the metaverse going forward? Because a lot of people are wondering, is this investable? Is this something I can put my money into?
It really is hard to tell at this point, right? We're seeing companies from Facebook to Microsoft to Google to Apple to, you name it, everybody's looking into it. We have big game companies like Sony, Epic Games, obviously, they're all talking about the metaverse. I think the big deal that we're looking forward to now is what Apple is going to do with its own AR headset. I think AR, VR headset. And I think that's going to be what really helps drive the industry if it's a success. Now, if it's a failure, who knows?
Well, that's what we keep hearing is that the technology is advancing so quickly that the use case will change along with that. A lot of people are looking to Apple and their headset. Obviously, Meta's got some headsets in the pipeline as well. What did Epic Games tell you specifically about how they view the future? Because they've really been at the center of it with gaming. Yeah,
so they see it as, right now what we're getting is basically, think of it as like 1993. And we're not even at video streaming yet, right? So we're that early in the build out of this kind of technology. And so, the idea is over time, we will start to see some improvements, some real use cases outside of, Meta's weird, legless avatars that you run around and do.
Not just Meta, by the way.
Yes.
Metaverse in general has no legs.
Right. I think there's a real issue when it comes to developing things that really count.
I guess that gets at the bigger question of anyone that's used an Oculus so far or anyone that's played around in any sort of Unity engine knows that it's better now than it was, let's say, even 5 years ago. But it's still hard to keep that headset on for longer than 10 minutes without wanting to, just throw up. So, is the technology even there yet? I know you said it's early, but it seems like there's still some development to be had.
It's still not there, and I think, we have Marc Petit basically explaining that in this interview that we had done with him.
For consumers, actually, they've been disappointed. If you look at the past 6 months, people have kind of lost interest in the metaverse because characters that look like cartoon with no legs, who wants to be that? This is not attractive. But to some extent, it is the current state of technology. And again, that timing for me is the critical factor. I'm confident to say it's going to take a decade to figure a lot of things out. I don't know where we're going to be in 3 years. And so from a business person, entrepreneur, or even for a consumer, it's kind of have that anticipation. But I do believe, look at The Matrix Awakens. Look at that photorealistic city. Look at those characters that are indistinguishable from real characters that we know, Keanu Reeves and Carrie-Anne Moss. So that is, for me, the benchmark for the metaverse. That's what the metaverse will be for everybody tomorrow.
Yeah, I think that's really the important thing to take away from this, right? Is that you're trying to build this new world that everybody wants to explore. Mark Zuckerberg, when he showed off the big unveiling of Meta, had himself surfing next to somebody, or even better, he had an AR version of himself with a blue person that he was kind of working with that was almost photorealistic, except for the fact that they were blue, that he was doing fencing with. And so that's what Marc Petit's really talking about there, is that, there are photorealistic graphics now that are coming. Unreal Engine 5, I've seen some stuff that, it's crazy. You don't even realize that it's not real. That's what we're going to have to get if we're going to see real progress in the metaverse. And the technology, it's there to a degree, but it needs to advance by leaps and bounds still.
As a side note, I feel like Metaverse, the word itself, I could see a lot of companies maybe coming up with new terminology for that because it's essentially Facebook. That's what that means now.
Right.
Well, Facebook popularized the word, right?
They did. And then they changed their name, but now you wonder, like, if we're going to call everything the Metaverse, even if it's not actually made by Meta, then will other companies be complicit with that?
And you could argue a lot of companies that have talked about it don't even know what it is. And like worth pointing out, as we've said before, it's not just the VR headset. Mm-hmm. That's not the only place where the metaverse exists.
Right.
Yeah, it really, I mean, in my most cynical view, it's a way to sell VR headsets that did not sell originally because people didn't care about VR. But that's my most cynical view. In the best case scenario, it's going to be something that's really awesome. What that is, we don't know.